So we're doing a phone session, all right? So I've just rung you.
Yeah.
And I'm just asking you, did you get the email I sent you with all the tapping points on it? Okay. So I want to go through those tapping points first. So I just want you to tap on the karate chop point.
Yeah.
So that's that part, the fleshy part underneath your little finger, as if you were going to go karate chop on something.
Yeah.
And the next point that we're going to go to is the top of the head. So as if you're a puppet on a string, just tapping on the top of the head. And then the next point is the eyebrow point, which is the start of the hair of the eyebrow above your nose. So you've got that?
Yeah, got that.
And then the corner of the eye, which is the bone at the corner of the eye.
Yeah.
And it's not so close to your eye that it makes you blink, and it's not back at the temple, it's just on that bone at the corner of the eye. And then on the bone underneath the pupil.
Yeah.
That's under the eye. Then under the nose, which is that fleshy part under the nose and above your lip.
Yeah. Right.
Then the chin point is actually the crease of your chin. So underneath your lip, that crease part in your chin.
Yeah.
Got that?
Yeah.
Then the collarbone, if you follow your collarbone across to the knobbles under your throat, there's two little round knobbles. Have you got them?
Yeah.
If you come down about an inch, slightly diagonally, there's a bit of a hollow there.
Yeah.
So if you can feel that, you can tap both of them by using one hand, thumb and middle finger. Have you got that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then under the arm, about 4 inches into the rib cage, about where your bra strap is.
Yeah.
Got that?
Got that.
All right. So they're the main points that we're going to use.
Okay.
And I'll say them as we go. Just start tapping on your karate chop point. I want to make sure that you've also got some water with you. Have you got that?
I haven't actually.
I can do that. In the magic of time, space and place, I can send that to you on the other end of the phone. Okay, so you've got your water?
Yes, thanks.
All right, so tapping on the karate chop point. It's important to hydrate while we're doing work and clearing work. So after we do a few rounds, I'll ask you to take a deep breath and have a sip of water.
Okay.
All right. So just tapping now, I want you to let me know what it is that you want to work on.
Okay. I haven't had a period for about 3 years.
Yes.
And I've got no medical issues.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with my body. It's an emotional thing, something that I've done a lot of work around it, but still, it's just not happened yet. You know, I'm waiting for her to come, but she's not arrived yet.
I love the way you give her a female shape.
Done a lot of work around it, and obviously it's still something that I want to work through, because maybe I feel that whilst I'm aware and I can connect a lot of dots, I feel that maybe there's just something still there.
Okay. So when you think about that you haven't had a period for 3 years, what's the emotion that comes up around that?
There's sadness, there's guilt, and there's shame.
Okay. And when you say sadness, guilt and shame, where do you feel that in your body?
In my stomach.
Okay. And just describe that feeling in your stomach.
There's an emptiness, there's a sickness, like a nausea.
Yep. All right. So just tap into that first, all right? So with the karate chop point, and repeat after me, but if you want to change the words or what I say doesn't fit for you and you want to add to them or not say them, then just do that.
Sure.
Or if something comes up for you and you want to offer that to me, then just let me know.
Yeah.
So even though I've got this sadness, there's guilt and shame, and I feel it like an emptiness and a nausea in my stomach.
And I feel an emptiness and a nausea in my stomach.
I accept myself.
And
my body.
Even
Even though I've already done a lot of work on this.
Even though I've already done a lot of work on this.
And I'm still waiting for her to arrive.
I'm still waiting for her arrival.
I accept myself deeply and completely.
I accept myself deeply and completely.
Even though I've got this sadness, guilt and emptiness.
Even though I've got the sadness, guilt and emptiness.
And shame.
And shame.
And a nauseous, sick feeling in my stomach.
And a nauseous, sick feeling in my stomach.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
Even though I don't have my period.
Even though I don't have my period.
And I haven't had it for 3 years.
I've not had it for 3 years.
I accept myself and my body.
I accept myself and my body.
Deeply and completely.
Deeply and completely.
So top of the head, this sadness.
This sadness.
Eyebrow, this guilt.
This guilt.
Side of the eye, this shame.
This shame.
Under the eye, this empty feeling.
This empty feeling.
Under the nose, this sick, nauseous feeling.
Sick, nauseous feeling.
Chin point. I've done a lot of work on this.
I've done a lot of work on this.
Collarbone. But she still hasn't arrived.
But she's still not arrived.
Under the arm. I don't know what's going on.
Don't know what's going on.
Top of the head. I've already done some work on this.
I've already done some work on this.
Eyebrow. I've got this nauseous, sick feeling.
Got this nauseous, sick feeling.
Corner of the eye, this nauseous, sick feeling, this emptiness in my stomach.
This nauseous, sick feeling is...
This emptiness in my stomach.
Is in my stomach.
Yep. Under the eye, all this guilt and shame.
All this guilt and shame.
Under the nose, I want to process it and get to the origin of it.
I want to process it and get to the origin of it.
Chin point. I don't know where it comes from.
Don't know where it comes from.
Collarbone. I've joined some of the dots.
I've joined some of the dots.
Under the arm, but I want to complete this process.
I want to complete the process.
Okay, so take a deep breath and have some of your water. Okay, so when we were doing all of that, did anything come up or anything stand out when I was speaking about guilt or shame or emptiness or sadness or joining the dots? What was there for you? Just tap on the karate chop point while you're thinking.
There's like a fluttering in my heart, around my solar plexus.
Okay. And what's your last memory or experience of that fluttering around your heart and around your solar plexus and that emptiness, that sadness, that guilt, that, did you say shame as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When was the first time you felt that? Is it only now in the last 3 years, or did you feel it earlier?
I can think of a time when I experienced that. It wasn't. I can think of a time maybe about 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
with a situation, and my stomach just dropped, and and there was guilt there, there was sadness, huge emotion, and
okay. So do you want to give it a name, like create a movie around it, give it a movie title?
Yeah.
All right, so what would the movie title be?
The Shay story.
The Shay story, okay. And when you say that and you tune into that movie title, The Shay story, what is it out of 10? Just the title, The Shay story.
Maybe a 7 or an 8.
And where are you feeling that? Is it still around your heart?
All in the stomach.
Stomach?
Yeah, all in the stomach.
Okay.
And some in my heart as well.
Yep. And is it a fluttering or an emptiness?
Yeah, there's fluttering, it feels a bit nauseous.
All right. Okay, so let's keep tapping on that. Even though I've got this 7 out of 10, the Shay story movie memory.
Even though I've got this 7 out of 10, the Shay story movie.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
And all this fluttering in my stomach and my heart.
I accept myself and all this fluttering in my stomach and my heart.
I accept the shock.
Accept the shock.
And I want to process it and let it go.
And I want to process it and let it go.
I accept myself deeply and
I
completely.
accept myself deeply and completely.
Top of the head, this Shay movie.
This Shay movie.
Eyebrow, this Shay movie.
This Shay movie.
Corner of the eye, this Shay movie.
This Shay movie.
Under the eye, I can feel it in my stomach and my
Feel
heart.
it in my stomach and my heart.
Under the nose, this shock.
This shock.
Chin point, all this shock.
All this shock.
Collarbone, this Shay movie shock.
This Shay movie shock.
I can feel it in my heart and my stomach.
I can feel it in my heart and my stomach.
Under the arm, this Shay movie shock.
This Shay movie shock.
Top of the head, processing and releasing this Shay movie shock.
Processing and releasing this Shay movie shock.
Eyebrow, this feeling in my stomach and my heart.
This feeling in my stomach and my heart.
Corner of the eye, thank you my body for protecting me in some way.
Thank you my body for protecting me in some way.
Under the eye, but I want to release and process it now.
I want to release and process it now.
Under the nose, letting go of all the shock.
Letting go of all the shock.
Chin bone, when I think of the Shay movie.
When I think of the Shay movie.
In my stomach and my heart.
In my stomach and my heart.
Collarbone, letting go of all the shock.
Letting go of all the shock.
All the emotions.
All the emotions.
In my stomach and my heart.
In my stomach and my heart.
When I think of the Shay movie.
When I think of the Shay movie.
Under the arm, processing it and letting it go.
Processing it and letting it go.
So take a deep breath. So when you think of the Shay movie now, is it still a 7 out of 10? Or has it come down?
Oh, it's come down.
So what is it now?
Maybe about 5.
So tapping on the karate chop point. So how do you know it's a 5? Where are you feeling that in your body? That Shay movie.
Still in my stomach, but the sensation's really not very intense anymore.
And what emotions there with it?
It's just like an awareness.
So if that awareness in your stomach had an emotion, what would it be? If it was representing an emotion? Hurt? Okay. So on the karate chop point, even though I've still got this 5 out of 10 hurt in my stomach,
even though I've still got this 5 out of 10 hurt in my stomach,
when I think about the Shay movie,
when I think about the Shay movie,
I accept myself
I accept myself
and my body,
and
I'm letting my stomach know
and I'm letting my stomach know
I can release this hurt now.
I can release this hurt now.
Under the arm, releasing this Shay movie hurt in my stomach.
Releasing this Shay movie hurt in my stomach.
Okay, so take a deep breath. And when you think of the Shay movie now, the title, what's it come down to?
3.
And is that 3 still in your stomach?
I can't actually feel anything in my stomach anymore, but I can feel a lot of energy moving up and down my legs.
Okay, so on the karate chop point, even though I've got this remaining energy moving up and down my legs,
even though there's remaining energy moving up and down my legs,
when I think of the Shay movie,
when I think of the Shay movie,
I thank my body for processing and releasing this.
I thank my body for processing and releasing this.
And I accept myself deeply and completely.
And I accept myself deeply and completely.
Top of the head, this remaining Shay movie feeling.
This remaining Shay movie feeling.
Running up and down my legs.
Running up and down my legs.
Eyebrow. My body's processing and releasing it.
My body's processing and releasing it.
I used to have all this hurt in my stomach, corner of the eye.
I used to have all this hurt in the stomach.
Under the eye. And now I have this feeling running up and down my legs.
And now it's a feeling running up and down my legs.
Under the nose, my body's processing this Shay movie hurt.
My body's processing this Shay movie hurt.
Chin point, processing and releasing this remaining feeling running up and down my legs.
Processing and releasing this remaining feeling running up and down my legs.
Collarbone, letting go of this Shay movie feeling.
Letting go of this Shay movie feeling.
Under the arm, this feeling running up and down my legs.
This feeling running up and down my legs.
Letting it go now.
Letting it go now.
Okay, so take a deep breath. Now, when you think about the Shay movie, what's that come down to? The
Back
tongue.
to, I've just got a mild sensation in my stomach then, but
Okay.
back to.
So I'd like us to move on now to looking at the Shay movie in more detail, and you can do that just in your own mind. You don't have to say anything about it, or you can say it out loud, whatever you prefer to do. But I want us to start at a neutral place, and then when the crescendo of energetic charge starts to come around the Shay movie, I want you to let me know where it is and what's going on, where you're feeling it in your body. So you can actually tell me about it, or you can just keep it in your mind and then just say where you're feeling it and what you're feeling in your body.
Yeah.
All right, so starting on the karate chop point. So what would you like to do in your mind?
Yeah.
Okay, so starting at a neutral place on the karate chop point, I want you to just, and it might help for you to close your eyes to start going through this. And as soon as you get to a place where the energy is increasing, the energetic charge, just let me know where you're feeling it in your body. What's coming up for you?
Just, there's a lot of hurt, there's a lot of emotion.
Okay, so on the karate chop point, where are you feeling it in your body?
In my stomach and in like the back of my throat.
Okay, so even though I've got this Shay movie feelings
Even though I've got this Shay movie feeling
in my stomach
in my stomach
and the back of my
and the
throat,
back of my throat,
all this emotion,
all this emotion,
I accept myself
I accept myself
and my body,
and my body,
and I'm letting my body know it's safe to process and let it go now.
and I'm letting my body know it's safe to process and let it go now.
It serves me no good having it trapped in my body,
Serves me no good having it trapped in my body,
and I want to release it.
and I want to release it.
I accept myself
I accept myself
deeply and completely.
deeply and completely.
Top of the head, this Shay movie hurt
This Shay movie hurt.
all these emotions
All these emotions
in my stomach and the back of my throat.
in my stomach and the back of my throat.
Eyebrow. It's time to process it and let it go.
Time to process and let it go.
Corner of the eye, when I remember the specific details.
And I remember the specific details.
Under the eye, everything I saw.
Everything I saw.
Under the nose, everything I heard.
Everything I heard.
Chin point, everything I felt.
Everything that I felt.
Collarbone. The feelings, all the emotions
Feelings and all the emotions
in my stomach
in my stomach
and the back of my throat.
and the back of my throat.
Under the arm. Processing and letting it go.
Processing and letting it go.
So take a deep breath. Have some water if you need to. So when you think about that now, that part of the movie that you're at, has that come down a bit?
Yeah.
When you think about everything that you saw and you heard, what stands out the most? Is it something that you saw, something that you heard, or something that you felt?
Something that I heard, something that I saw, and something that I felt.
So all of those? So on the karate chop point, as you tune into those things that you saw and heard and felt, where are you feeling that in your body now?
But there's a sensation in the back of my throat.
Mm-hmm.
It's only quite mild. It's not really intense.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And if that sensation in the back of your throat had an emotion, what would it be?
Either want to vomit or it's not emotion, is it? I need to speak. I need to say something.
Yep. Okay. So just on the karate chop point, even though I've got this sensation in the back of my throat,
even though I've got this sensation in the back of my throat,
like I need to speak,
and
I'm feeling like I want to vomit,
and I feel like I want to vomit,
I accept myself and all my body's feelings, and I want to process and let them go. I accept myself deeply and completely. Top of the head, this sensation in the back of my throat, eyebrow, it feels like I want to vomit. Corner of the eye, I want to say something. Under the eye, these remaining emotions. Under the nose, these remaining feelings. Chin point, when I remember everything I heard, everything I saw, everything I felt. Collarbone, releasing and processing it out of my throat. This feeling that I want to vomit. This feeling that I need to say something. Under the arm, imagine that I am saying what I want to say. And how good that feels. How empowering. Okay, so take a deep breath. So when you get to that part of the movie now, that part of the Shay movie, and you remember everything that you saw and heard and felt, is that feeling better now?
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything left in your throat? Or is it moved? Okay. All right, so go back to the beginning at the neutral place, on your karate chop point, and just start from the beginning, run it through your mind, and go through that part that we were just at, and up to the next part. And just let me know when any of the energy is rising, or if there's anything else coming up in your body. And maybe the belief, what was the belief that you had what was the belief that you formed?
I wasn't good enough.
Yep, okay. And where are you feeling that in your body?
Solar plexus.
And is there any more to that movie that we need to deal with?
No.
Okay, so when you tune into that I'm not good enough feeling in your solar plexus, just tune into that feeling. When was the first time you felt that feeling, that I'm not good enough feeling in your solar plexus? Let's just do a round on it and just tune into, just notice what comes up, all right? So on the karate chop point, just say, I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough.
And I can feel it in my stomach, in my solar plexus.
I can feel it in my solar plexus.
And I accept myself.
I accept myself.
Even when I have this I'm not good enough feeling.
Even when I have this I'm not good enough feeling.
In my solar plexus.
In my solar plexus.
Top of the head, I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough.
Eyebrow, I'm just not good enough.
I'm just not good enough.
Corner of the eye, I can feel it in my solar plexus.
I can feel it in my solar plexus.
Under the eye, I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough.
Under the nose, I was never good enough.
I was never good enough.
Chin point, I'm just not good enough.
I'm just not good enough.
Collarbone, I'm so not good enough.
I'm so not good enough.
Under the arm, I can feel it in my solar plexus.
I can feel it in my solar plexus.
I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough.
Take a deep breath. What was coming up while we were tapping on that?
There was some kind of trigger when you said I was never good enough. Something expanded.
Yep. So keep tapping on the karate chop point and let's just tune into that. I was never good enough.
I was never good enough.
Top of the head, I was never good enough.
I was never good enough.
I can feel eyebrow, I can feel it in my body.
I can feel it in my body.
Corner of the eye, I was never good enough.
I was never good enough.
Under the eye, I was never good enough.
I was never good enough.
Under the nose, I can feel it in my solar plexus.
I can feel it in my solar plexus.
Chin point, I was never good enough.
I was never good enough.
Collarbone, I'm never good enough.
I'm never good enough.
Under the arm, I'm just not good enough.
I'm just not good enough.
Take a deep breath. So what was registering with you out of all of those? Anything coming up memory-wise?
Nothing specific. I'm going back to childhood, but
Okay, so tapping on the karate chop point. So nothing specific, but childhood. So if you were just guessing, what age would you say it was in childhood that would relate to it? Just give it a guess.
6.
About 6? Mm-hmm. And if you were guessing you as a 6-year-old not being good enough, never been good enough, just imagine a situation where you would feel not good enough as a 6-year-old. Just imagine what a situation might be where you weren't feeling good enough as a 6-year-old. You're never good enough. Is there anything coming up? Just imagine, guess. Anything at school or with your parents, or tuning into that feeling in your solar plexus. Never feeling good enough. So let's just do a round and see what comes up. Even though I accept myself.
Accept myself.
Deeply and completely.
Deeply and completely.
Top of the head, I never felt good enough.
I never felt good enough.
Eyebrow, I wasn't good enough.
I wasn't good enough.
Corner of the eye, I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough.
Under the eye, I'm only 6.
Only 6.
Under the nose, and I'm not good enough.
And I'm not good enough.
Chin point, I'll never be good enough.
I'll never be good enough.
Collarbone, I was never good enough.
I was never good enough.
I can feel it in my solar plexus.
I can feel it in my solar plexus.
Under the arm, I'm just not good enough.
I'm just not good enough.
So taking a deep breath, is there anything that was popping into mind? Any pictures?
Something about not being strong enough just not being strong enough.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So tap on your karate chop point.
Yeah.
I have this feeling of not being strong enough.
I have this feeling of not being strong enough.
This 6-year-old, and I'm not strong enough.
Oh.
What's coming? I'm not strong enough.
Yeah, not strong enough.
Mm-hmm. Is there a memory there?
There's a burden, like a weight.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Where are you feeling that?
In my stomach.
Mm-hmm. So is there any pictures or anything coming up, or any memory? Or just a feeling?
Just a feeling.
Okay. So even though I've got this feeling,
Even though I've got this feeling.
as a 6-year-old,
As a 6-year-old.
I'm not strong enough.
I'm not strong enough.
And I feel this burden in my solar plexus.
I feel this burden.
Is it in your solar plexus?
Yeah, in the solar plexus.
Yeah. I accept myself
I accept myself.
and all these 6-year-old feelings.
And all these 6-year-old feelings.
And I'm ready and willing to process them and let them go.
And I'm ready and willing to process them and let them go.
Top of the head, this 6-year-old feelings.
6-year-old feelings.
Eyebrow, I was only little.
It's only little.
Corner of the eye, but I had all this burden
I had all this burden.
under the eye, and I felt it in my solar plexus.
And I felt it in my solar plexus.
This 6-year-old, I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough feeling.
This 6-year-old, I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough feeling.
This burden in my stomach.
This burden in my stomach.
Under the nose. Processing and letting it go.
Processing and letting it go.
Chin point, out of that 6-year-old body
Out of that 6-year-old body.
who felt she wasn't good enough.
Who felt she wasn't good enough.
Chin point, she was only little.
She was only little.
She wasn't strong enough.
She wasn't strong enough.
All this burden
All this burden
felt in her stomach.
felt in her stomach.
It's time for her to let it go.
Time for her to let it go.
Under the arm, letting it go out of my 6-year-old body.
Letting it go out of my 6-year-old body.
So take a deep breath. So if you tune into that little 6-year-old, so tap on the karate chop point. If you were to step back in time and speak to that little 6-year-old who is feeling all that burden and feeling not strong enough and seeing how little she is, what would you say to her?
She doesn't have to make it better.
Yep.
It's not her responsibility.
All right, so I want you to imagine that you're there in front of her and you're letting her know that you're her from the future, and you'll come back to talk to her and that you understand exactly how she feels, and you want to just talk to her. So I want you to tap through the points, and as you're tapping on her, letting her know that she can let go of that. It's not her responsibility, it's not her burden to hold, and she can let it go, and that you understand her. All right, so just tap through the points. Karate chop point. You're such a good little girl.
You're such a good little girl.
It's not your responsibility.
It's not your responsibility.
You can let go of that burden.
You can let go of that burden.
That feeling you're not good enough.
That feeling that you're not good enough.
Top of the head. That feeling that you're not good enough.
That feeling that you're not good enough.
Eyebrow. It's not your responsibility.
It's not your responsibility.
Corner of the eye. You're not alone.
You're not alone.
Under the eye. I'm here with you.
I'm here with you.
Under the nose. I'll help you.
I'll help you.
Chin point. It's not your burden.
It's not your burden.
Collarbone. It's not your responsibility.
It's not your responsibility.
You're not alone.
You're not alone.
I'm here to help you.
I'm here to help you.
Under the arm, releasing that feeling out of your tummy.
Releasing that feeling out of your tummy.
Okay, and as you look at her now, is she smiling? How's she feeling?
She's anxious, she's worried.
Okay, tapping on the karate chop point. So I want you to tap on her and ask her, where is she feeling that anxious feeling?
In her chest.
So I want you to tap on her and tell her this will make her feel better. Alright, so tapping on her little hand on the karate chop point, even though you're anxious and you feel it in your chest.
Even though you're anxious and you feel it in your chest.
This is going to make you feel better.
This is going to make you feel better.
And you can let go of that anxious feeling out of your chest.
And you can let go of this anxious feeling out of your chest.
Top of the head. Letting go of the anxious feeling out of your chest.
Letting go of the anxious feeling out of your chest.
Eyebrow. It doesn't belong trapped there.
Doesn't belong trapped there.
Corner of the eye. Letting it go out of your chest.
Letting it go out of your chest.
Under the eye. That anxious feeling going out of your chest.
That anxious feeling going out of your chest.
Under the nose. Sending you fun and joy.
Sending you fun and joy.
Chin point from my heart to yours.
From my heart to yours.
Collarbone, dissolving all that anxious feeling out of your chest.
Dissolving all that anxious feeling out of your chest.
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault.
It's not your responsibility.
It's not your responsibility.
Releasing all that anxiety.
Releasing all that anxiety.
Everything will be okay.
Everything will be okay.
Under the arm. Sending you fun and joy.
Sending you fun and joy.
Into your chest.
Into your chest.
Dissolving all that anxious feeling.
And dissolving all that anxious feeling.
Okay, so how's she feeling now?
Yeah, more supported.
Alright, so on the karate chop point now, when you say out loud now, so she's okay, we can leave her there now, she's feeling cool, she's feeling supported, and I want you to say out loud, I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough.
I was never good enough.
I was never good enough.
Is that sitting with you as much now? So I want you to say something else. I deserve to have my period.
I deserve to have my period.
I'm good enough to have my period.
I'm good enough to have my period.
I even want to have my period.
I want to have my period.
And I accept myself
And I accept myself.
and any fears or blockages
Or any fears and blockages
that prevent me from having it.
that prevent me from having it.
Yep, top of the head. Any fears that are in the way.
Any fears that are in the way.
Eyebrow, any burdens.
Any burdens.
Corner of the eye, any anxieties.
Any anxieties.
Under the eye, any responsibilities.
Any responsibilities.
Under the nose. I release them all.
I release them all.
Chin point, and allow my body to function normally.
And allow my body to function normally.
Chin point, every month.
Every month.
Under the arm, without responsibility and anxiety.
Without responsibility and anxiety.
Or feeling that I'm not good enough.
Without feeling that I'm not good enough.
So take a deep breath. So how does that feel?
Good.
Okay, so of course we can't test this yet. and there might be other layers to do, but I think that's enough for processing now to allow your body to process that. And perhaps we can make another time for next week, and we'll have another session and see what's there for you now.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, thanks. All right, so that's how you do a phone session.
Thank you.
And pass the water through the phone.
That's
pretty cool.